Hello, I'm Ed Amoroso from Tag Cyber, and I'm here today with Kim Simon, who is the Director of Marketing and Strategic Partnership at ControlCase. Hi, Kim.
Hey, Ed, thanks for having me.
Oh, gosh, it's nice to speak with you. Kim, hey, we'll get a little bit into some of the compliance work that you and the team do at ControlCase. But before we start, why don't you just give us a real brief overview of ControlCase, and then I've got some questions about audit and compliance and PCI and things that I suspect a lot of people will want your advice on.
Great, yeah, thank you. So ControlCase has been in business since 2004, so we're fairly mature in this space. We do two things very well. We do certifications. So if you need IT security certifications, this is where you come to. And then another thing that we do very well is continuous compliance services. So there are all these scans and tests that you need to do anyway to achieve compliance and to keep your environment secure. So we're kind of like your one-stop shop for getting everything compliance and IT security.
And the continuous compliance means that it's this ongoing sort of coverage. Is that the idea, as opposed to maybe a point in time audit that people might be very used to?
Absolutely. So, if you think about it, back in the day when you were doing a compliance exercise, it really was, hey, you have an audit in March, and that's when you kind of all scramble around and you're trying to gather all these things. And we moved away from that. We were leading and moving away from that and trying to make IT compliance and security business as usual, part of what you do every day, part of what your team understands your company culture to be. So we use continuous compliance to kind of keep an eye on your security 24/7. So we're very technology driven. Wherever we can use technology to get more accurate, to get more visibility, we use technology. So that's where the continuous compliance comes into play.
Good. I understand you have a solution offering you refer to. Is it One Audit? Do I have that right?
One Audit.
Tell us all about that.
Okay, so, and you know what, you can't escape it, right? So what's happening is the more, if you focus on security, compliance is a byproduct of that, right? So what happens is, if you are certified to one regulation, great, good for you. But what we're finding is a lot of our clients are targeting customers that are in different industries. So because of that, these clients request different types of regulations. So you may work with a client who says, hey, I need my third party to have PCI DSS certification. And you work with a different client who says, hey, I need it to be ISO. And then someone else will say SOC 2. So, and you know what, why not have a holistic approach to doing security and just do it all? So One Audit is essentially that. We work with our clients to look at what regulations they would, first of all, secure their environment, because that's why you do it, right? So we work with you to figure out what's the best way to get you there, what will secure your environment. And then beyond that, we're looking at what would your clients be interested in? So what are they going to ask you for? Because we need to make sure that when they say, hey, are you guys secure? Otherwise, you're going to lose the contract. We want you to get that competitive advantage. And that's where One Audit comes in. And it's certainly complemented by the continuous compliance side of things.
Mm-hmm. Is PCI one of the more popular, or maybe one of the biggest areas that your clients might start with? I sense that that's a big one for your client base.
It's a big one, for a lot of our clients, because they're, processing, storing, and working with credit card data. So yeah, PCI DSS is a big part of our business, and we've been doing PCI since it started. So we're very good at getting you PCI DSS certified, whether you're doing level 1 or level 2. We support many different companies to do that.
And once I go through that process, like somebody watching who would go through that for PCI with you guys, if suddenly they found out they had either new or complementary requirements, maybe it's HIPAA or SOC 2 or so, whatever it would be, do you guys help them? They wouldn't have to go through all that again, right? Sort of map it or something. How would that work?
So that's a good question. And it is exactly what One Audit does. So let's, in the scenario that you've just given me, let's say this client is working with us for PCI DSS certification, right? And then somewhere in the middle, they get a client that says, hey, you need to also do HIPAA. What happens is, as they're working through in our portal, they have visibility, and it's out of the box, it's right there. So as they're working through their PCI DSS assessment, they're able to see how far they would be if they decided to do something else, whether it's HIPAA, ISO, SOC, you name it. So yeah, so absolutely, we've mapped the questions and the requirements against these regulations. So for example, penetration testing, you need to do it anyway for PCI DSS, and you need to do it for SOC. So when you do it and you upload your evidence, you can already see that, hey, you're compliant with PCI DSS, you're compliant with the SOC requirements. So you're kind of seeing these different pie charts for different regulations move. And our clients really appreciate that, because then it shows you how much effort it would take to move on to a different regulation.
Yeah, I would imagine a lot of your customers now are dealing with privacy requirements, right? CCPA just went into effect, and the GDPR. Were you guys able to help them with that? Because those can be a real pain. Those are, there can be a lot of requirements there. How do you handle like GDPR or something with the client?
Absolutely, yeah, we're doing GDPR and CCPA, what we've done is we've mapped those requirements across all these other regulations anyway, because as you can imagine, all these clients were already working with us for something else. So, you know, we've mapped these requirements, and we're able to, you know, collect that evidence once and certify them to multiple regulations. And they get visibility, and that's where the continuous compliance comes in. That visibility, because you don't want to be non-compliant and then, you know, lose all that money, not to mention the reputation, right? So that's where the continuous compliance kind of makes sure that you're staying compliant and not just looking at it that one time in the year.
Yeah, Kim, I want to ask you an unusual question kind of about COVID. I mean, we're filming this in end of August 2020. I bet a lot of your customers may have been struggling with compliance, perhaps because of the pandemic. What's been your observation? I know you work with clients every day. What are you seeing over the past few months, and I suspect for the next few as well?
Yeah, it's honestly been a very tough time. So if you can imagine, with all the stress that people are going through, that added vulnerability in that now people have to work remotely. And you know, if somebody doesn't sign in to VPN, you can't really track what they're doing now. You know, what if they take pictures of credit card data on it? It's so much more that, you know, people are now having to worry about in terms of security. And just all the reports that we're seeing of all these, you know, hacking incidents that are happening. So it's been a tough time. And what's really added to that is that before COVID, security compliance professionals were having to do a lot with less. You hear it all the time. You know, they have to keep the company secure and compliant with very little resources and very little support. And then now, you know, with everything else going on, you know, the team's been cut, the budget has been cut, but you can't escape it. You still need to do your security, and you still need to do your compliance. So it's been such a challenging time for our clients, and that's where the added value of being able to do one audit and get certified to multiple assessments really helps, because now it cuts time, it cuts cost, and then the use of technology provides more accuracy. So yeah, COVID has really just cut budgets for everything, and unfortunately, you know, security and compliance suffers that too.
Yeah. Well, Kim Simon, head of marketing, strategic partnerships at ControlCase, and located, I believe, in Toronto, right? Is that where you're calling in from?
I'm one of the lucky people that have worked with ControlCase long enough to, you know, I worked with them in Dubai. I worked with ControlCase in London, UK, and now I'm in Toronto. So yeah, they can't get rid of me.
I want to, on behalf of the folks watching, I want to thank you for sharing a little bit of your perspective. For people who are interested in more, I would imagine the ControlCase website would be a good place for them to start. Do I have that right?
Absolutely. Yeah, controlcase.com. And yeah, contact us. We certainly want to get involved in making people's compliance easy.
That's excellent. Well, Kim, stay healthy up there in Canada, and we'll look forward to chatting with you next time.
Thanks, Ed. Have a good one.
And we'll see you all next time. Thanks, everyone.